Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Your host, the Raven, here, back with some more Illusion of Gaia action, part 25. And this chapter, we're going to finish up the Mountain Temple. We have very little to do left here. Only a couple of screens, maybe 20 more enemies. As you can see, there's only one enemy left in this particular room. I think it's a skull. Lots of times, I think two of the rooms, it's just like one single golden skull, or the golden skull is the last enemy, and there it is. So anyway, very very simple. Last episode we got the aura barrier, which for some reason isn't as cool as I remember it. I remember when I was a kid using it all the time, like because I thought it was a cool effect. I thought it looked really sharp, but now as an adult, it doesn't seem to last very long, and it doesn't. It takes so long to charge up. You'd think it would stay around you longer, but it just about the same time it takes to power up to use the move is about how long it lasts. Its duration is like equal to its charging time. So I thought that was a little weird. So I won't be using it much. I will demonstrate it well in this video. I mean, obviously you can't get a new power in an RPG, and then not make use of it. I mean, what kind of stuff is that? So, but anyway, basic stuff. Here we are at the next branch that we need to clear using the mushroom tears or whatever to repair it, so we can move on. There's only one more screen after this, and we'll get the temple tears when that's the end of the dungeon here, which it's pretty good. I'm kind of glad to get out of here. Like I say, I like the way it looks. I like the enemies. I think it's a very well thought out dungeon, a very detailed dungeon, but it's also, like I said, it could be very confusing. A lot of the rooms can look the same. And as a kid, I got lost in here, so it's not one of my most favorite places to be. So obviously, getting out of here is always a kind of a relief. And after track down that other gray skull, boom, there we go. I try to get all the enemies with the psycho power shot. I hate it when there's like three or four enemies on the screen, but I only managed to kill like two. As you can see there, I only killed two with the blast. And I mean, okay, it's not perfect, but still, I like to try to, because I have killed four or five. I want to say five is my maximum amount of enemies killed with one shot. From that dark. I think it's the dark friar ability. So when I only kill like one or two, I kind of feel a little bit of disappointment there. But it's not the end of the world. So anyway, got to hunt down this last guy, which once again I believe is a golden skull. You can see there's only one enemy left on the screen. And that is a very handy feature, that map. It tells you how many enemies are left and if there's any treasures in the room. Regardless, it tells you, it gives you the information you need without giving away the secrets. And boom, yes, it is a golden skull. Because if it tells you where the treasure is, I mean, where's the fun in finding it? But to let you know that there is a treasure, period, that gives you the motivation you need to keep looking. Like, you ain't found it, you're like, well, where the freak is it? You've been all over the area. It just keeps you motivated. The knowledge that there is a treasure there, you just haven't found it yet. That keeps you going. That keeps you searching, even though you feel like you've been over the room like countless times before. Like, obviously there's just something you're missing because you haven't found that treasure. So, and there's sometimes where there's a treasure marked in a certain room or in a certain screen, but you can't get to it from that screen. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. If it's because I mean, yeah, if it's can be frustrating to you've been over the room or whatever and you still haven't found a treasure. Yeah, it can be your fault. You just missed something. But there's a few occasions where there's a treasure that you just simply cannot get to by the room you're in. So you want to keep that in mind. I mean, it should be a treasure hunt, but it shouldn't be just like an impossible treasure hunt. Like, it just shouldn't be so unbelievably frustrating that you can't. This like making you want to tear the game up, or cut it off, or kill. See that guy, that golden skull, he didn't die. It's so annoying. But yeah, it shouldn't be so frustrating as to where you want to give up or rage quit or whatever. So boom, we got one more. And I think it's this is this flute boy. Yeah, the final one. We get a sword upgrade, two defense upgrades, and one strength upgrade, which you're gonna need because the next dungeon after the mountain temple, which we will get to in this video, is Angkor Wat, and that is it's, to me, it's still the hardest dungeon in the game. I mean, period. I mean, the pyramid is hard. I mean, the enemies are tough, but it's more like it's long than it is tough. I don't remember it just being so difficult to get through as I do Angkor Wat. This temple, to me, it's like, wow. And here we go. There's a demonstration of the aura barrier technique. I wanted to make sure I used it before I left, because now that we have the mountain, the tiers of the mountain, we're on our way out. I mean, there's literally nothing else to do here. We got all the red jewels. We cleared all the enemies. So now it's just a memory test for me to remember how to get out of here. And as you can see, I'm failing a little bit, which I make a couple of 2 or 3 missteps in this video on the way out. But it doesn't take too long for me to get out of here. I don't have, there's no major backtracking losses or anything like that. So once again, very relieved to be on the way out of this particular dungeon. I mean, it's not, I don't hate it, but it's just not my favorite. Because you spend so much time here. The first time you go through, it's like, wow. It's like you don't, you get lost, you have to backtrack. It's just time consuming, and you just rather, be on your way. And I'd rather, I like Angkor Wat a little bit better because it is more difficult, just like the Temple of Mu. It was another one of the more difficult dungeons in this game. But I like those better because it's difficult because, the enemies are tough, the puzzles are tough, not because everything looks the same and you have to do a lot of backtracking, or you get lost, and you spend so much time just trying to figure out where to go. I hate that. Sucks in any game. If any of my fans or any of my viewers who also watch the Angry Video Game Nerd, which I'm pretty sure you do, he says that pretty often. Don't, games where where the fuck do you go? That's like one of the worst things ever. So anyway, to get out of here, we will. I'm gonna turn back into Will, because there's one part on this branch where his Psycho Dash, well, not Psycho Dash, the one where he turns into like a tornado and jumps the gaps. You need that power to. I'm gonna use that power to escape one of the screens. And here is, I should have kept going straight and went down, but I kind of confused myself. It was like, should I go this way? See, I looked and I didn't really trust it. Um, that's something that it's really tough, even in real life. Like, always go with your first mind. Well, not always. I mean, but a lot of times your first instincts or your first mind, as people say, is a correct thing. But for some reason we just don't trust it. And see, here I'm going, and I know, like, no, this leads to the treasure chest, but I just wanted to check. So I run down a little bit of the way, but once I see those separated mushroom caps, yeah, that is a treasure chest room. But I kind of wish that it connected, but it doesn't. It just leads to that area where that red jewel was. And boom, we're left with a little bit of backtracking. But I think this is the longest section of backtracking that I have to do in this particular video. So hold tight. It's not gonna be too awful. See, now I remember, like, no, just go the way you know to go instead of trying to figure it out. And that's the thing. And sometimes our thoughts lead us astray. And see, this is where I should have went down. And yeah, you need a branch over on the right, and that's why you need will, because if you stay as free, then you can't jump that little gap. And maybe there's another way out without using will, but hey, it's better to be safe than sorry and use what you know. So you could be on your way instead of once again spend a lot of time speculating as to how to leave. And this is the entrance screen. Whenever you see where it announces the name of the dungeon or area you're in, that's the very beginning screen. That's one tip that you can use on all the maps. If you're lost, if it says the name, then you're at the beginning. So anyway, we're back. We're gonna head to Euro City and drop off these tiers. And this part of the game was always weird and kind of sad to me, because when we drop these tiers, you have to pour the tears on his parents, on Neo's parents, the owners of the Rolex slavery company. Which, it when you first play it, you don't understand why do you have to do that. I mean, it seemed like a weird mechanism to move the story along. And it took me for the longest. Like, after I was a child, when I beat the Mountain Temple and I came back to the city, with the tears, I spent a lot of time, like, what do I do with these tears? I mean, there's no real indication that you need to pour them on his parents. I think I finally found out by reading the guidebook or something. that you need to pour the tears on his parents. And come to find out, his parents are dead the whole time. The only real clue that you have is the fact that you can't speak to the father. You can speak to the mother and you can speak to Neil, but if you try to speak to the father, he just won't respond or whatever. So that's weird. But how are you supposed to relate that to progress the story by pouring a jar full of tears on him? I mean, that's kind of abstract if you ask me. So anyway, you pour the tears. We find out his parents were really ghosts. And another thing I thought was very strange was why in the world would these spirits, these the moon tribe spirits, spend their time impersonating his parents? I mean, like they have nothing else to do. I mean, that's what they choose to do with their time or lives as spirits. Like, well, let's just impersonate this guy's dead parents, for no reason. I mean, what reward are they getting, or what are they accomplishing by doing that? I just don't understand that. And then being those parents, they're running a company that's involved in slave labor. So I mean, that's an evil task. So that's another reason why would you do that? That's my thing about ghosts in general. And ghost movies, ghost stories, the ghosts are always doing something that to me seems like a colossal waste of time. If I had passed away and I was a spirit roaming the earth or whatever, I think I would find something better to do than spend all my days in an old cave hoping that somebody like drunk teenagers would come in there to make out or something so I could haunt them and kill them. I mean, what if nobody doesn't come in that cave for 500 years? You're going to spend 500 years in an old cave hoping for somebody to come by so you can haunt them? Uh, that just doesn't that just doesn't seem like a smart move to me. It just seemed like a colossal waste of time. So anyway, Hamlet is back, which the story says the pig has been searching for Kara all this time, and that pig would, I mean, it must be a psychic pig because we've been all over the world. We've been in airplanes. I mean, we've left that pig so far behind. We've traveled miles on creatures, like the Crux in Watermia. We travel. You can only travel certain parts by using the Crux. So how that pig got across the desert just makes no sense whatsoever. But it does tie into this part, which also is another weird area of the game. So anyway, this part, be alert. There is one red jewel here, which I will retrieve. It's in the hut where there's three statues of these girls have they've been turned to stone or they've been cursed some kind of way. And there's not really much story part here. I guess I mean it's kind of like a little bit of background. I guess this is like the area where they were getting the slave laborers from. The red jewel is in the pot on the bottom, not the one next to the girl. See, bam, found a red jewel. So make sure you hit that up. There's a dark space in the top right corner. If you need to heal up or you want to save your game, which we will be doing. But yeah, this place, I don't know. It's a funny little area of the game. I mean, it offers backstory, but it really playing as an adult, it really leads to more questions than it does like give out answers or whatever. And another thing is like they say it's really hot and they're tired. They need to stop here. Why would you sleep in a strange house? This is another action taken, but this is taken by human beings that it doesn't seem very smart to me. I mean, you don't know who built these. Like, okay, if you were traveling the world and you got tired and you came up on a set of houses that was surrounded by bleached human skeletons, like bleached bone, like the bones were bleached white, picked clean. Would you want to settle down in there? Now look what's happening. These guys are going in there whooping their butts while they're asleep. And see, he's looking, what, Hamlet? Let me sleep a little while longer. Not even paying attention. No lookout, no nothing. And they're basically kids. And see, now they're getting their butts whooped. But that just doesn't seem like a smart move to me. There's bleached human bones everywhere, and you want to sleep inside the tents or the little shacks that they have set up. And so anyway, the story here is that the people of this village are hungry and starving, which once again is kind of weird because Euro City is just like what a day's journey away. Like, I mean, they're selling apples and stuff over there. You think that at the very least they would just like do like a raid or something and sneak into the city to steal apples or okay, they're selling apples in the city, but they have to farm them somewhere. So that means there's farmland around the city. So you think that they'd just like kind of skip over there to like, raid or do something, other than to starve to death or whatever. So anyway, the pig sacrificed itself. And here is another weird shocker that once again, as a kid, I didn't really think much on it, but as an adult, it's very extremely weird that the spirit of Kara's mother is inside the pig, which I kind of think they kind of hinted at that earlier in the game because I mean the mother wanted to watch over her daughter or something like that. But to spend your time as a pig, it just seems like weird. Like what a time to like reveal yourself. Like you would think that if she wanted her daughter to know that she was watching over her inside this pig, she would have done it in a different way or a different time than that. So, once again, pretty strange. But maybe, hey, that also is an explanation as to how the pig found him all this way. It was possessed by a ghost. So, I guess it had advanced knowledge as to where they'd be traveling or where they'd be going and how to follow them. And it also is lucky. I mean, it's a pig. I mean, yeah, maybe a smart pig, but it's still a pig. Like, what keeps, wolves, monsters, demons, what stops them from saying, oh, bacon, and getting something to eat, you know what I'm saying? So, very weird, but hey, at the end of the day, it's a video game for children, and it's a great video game. The story does get a little bit loopy, as you can see, during this section, very, very weird. But I mean, it's fun. The music is awesome. Graphics are awesome, and we passed a kind of not my favorite area, the mountain temple. And once we finish here, we'll be able to go to Angkor Wat, and that's where we'll end the video. And I forgot that you do have to talk to a native. You can't just leave yet. There's one native. A native has to mark the location of the temple on your map. Otherwise, you can't find it. And I forgot which one it was. So I talked to these two, but it's the second guy, not this guy that you follow over to the bones, but the guy who was standing next to him. He's the one who marks it on your map. So anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Stay tuned for more Illusion of Gaia action. I just got a new headset and new microphone, so maybe my voice sounds a little bit different. But my old one broke, and I needed this one, and it works great. It's a Turtle Beach, and I'm really happy with it. It's awesome equipment, and I got it on the cheap. It wasn't expensive. Most of the time you think Turtle Beach, you think like $200 or something, around that area. But this one wasn't that expensive, so I feel pretty blessed to get that. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more Illusion of Gaia action. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.